We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Micheal. Okay, so last week our communication lines were all mixed up, but hopefully we have things to sort out a bit better now because apparently I don't really know what he was doing. I think he was calling us or whatever, expecting us.
He used our AVRant offline rant line, which has not been used in a very long time.
But we still get those messages, but he was expecting me to literally pick up and answer his question, which does not happen. Doesn't ring anymore. Anyways, he was really just hoping to improve the sound of his bedroom setup with his existing equipment. It's a 7.1 Onkyo speaker package with a Yamaha RX V665 receiver. When he's listening, he's sitting up on his bed. He's just hoping for even more sound coverage and better imaging from his front soundstage. He heard our suggestions regarding speaker placement from last week, so that should help. That should help. Now he has some more settings question. First, he wasn't totally clear on what we ended up recommending for his surround speakers. He got that we recommended just sticking with 5.1 instead of trying to use all 7 speakers. But since he's sitting up on his bed while listening, does he have to lower his surround speakers as well as his front speakers, or can his surround speakers stay up high? I think they're too high. I honestly do. I don't care sitting up, lying down, whatever. I think they're just too high. I think they need to come down some. They're like right near his ceiling, and he's sitting on the bed. Now,
yes,
they're still just way too high. They're half as high as they need to be. I think they come down like 2 feet, 3 feet off of that ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the setup that he has, and since he's sitting up on his bed while he's watching, I'm assuming his back is fairly close to that wall behind him.
Unless he's sitting right in the middle of bed like some sort of weird yoga pose, but it could be.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means that, going to just one pair of surround speakers, not having both pairs of surround speakers up there. On what would be his right side, there's the closet door over there, and he's got this shelf that's behind the closet door, but it looks like you could put a speaker just on one of those shelves. That takes care of the one side. And on the other side, you have this, wall mount that you're already using. You have, a photo or a picture that's hanging on the left wall, but there doesn't seem to be any reason you couldn't use the wall mount to connect that one speaker to that left wall. So they're still going to be close to the corners, but you'll bring them down from the ceiling. I agree that would be closer to optimal.
Yeah.
Right now they are right up to the ceiling. I would say if that's going to be a tremendous hassle for you, if that's really going to be a pain to do, I don't think having your surround speakers up near the ceiling is the end of the world, right? Certainly the front speakers, you've got to bring those down. They're way too high. The imaging problems that you're talking about, you don't have a spread between your front, left, right, and they're way up too high.
Yeah. So
the fronts have to come down closer to ear level.
Yeah.
The surrounds, I'm like, it's not the end of the world to have them up there, but optimally, you would lower them.
So his Yamaha 665 offers YPAO, and that's their room correction, but it only takes one measurement. So what would be the optimal way to run YPAO in his case? Should he even use it, and would Odyssey be way better? Well, YPAO with RSC and the more recent, more upgraded YPAO would be better as well. I don't want to say, because you're asking, would Odyssey be way better? Well, Odyssey might be better. But, I mean, if you got just like the base level of Odyssey, you might end up in the same boat.
Yeah.
So an upgraded room correction system will certainly be better than the one that only takes one measurement. That is, I think, a pretty easy thing to say. You are not in the optimal room. Let's put it this way. And Rob said this before, so I'm going to steal it from him, but I'm giving him credit, so it makes it okay. Room correction is the cherry on top of the acoustic cake. Or ice cream sundae or whatever this, right? It is a cherry on top. It is not the ice cream. It is not the frosting. It is not all of that. It is just the part that dials in that little bit more to fix the things that you couldn't fix through room correction and placement and everything else. So should you run YPAO? Absolutely. Should you be afraid to turn it off if it doesn't sound very good? Absolutely not. You should be just fine saying, you know what, I tried it, didn't like it, turned it off.
Yeah, I would still use it and allow it to set your speaker distances and your speaker trim levels.
Yes.
It's useful for that. Honestly, myself, since it doesn't really EQ the subwoofer.
Nope.
because it doesn't go anywhere below 63 hertz on anything. So it doesn't really EQ your subwoofer. You're using what is normally the most useful part of equalization. It doesn't even do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's only taking this one measurement position. I would myself just turn off the correction. I would turn off the equalizer.
I mean, listen to it first, Rob. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I probably won't.
You will probably end up doing that.
Yeah,
Because it's taking one measurement and your room is, I mean, it is a bedroom and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's YPAO and Odyssey and all the other ones are not really there to have you just throw your speakers willy-nilly into a bedroom that has no acoustical treatments and all the other stuff that it kind of requires optimal placement and expect that it's going to wave its magic wand, everything's going to get better. It's just...
Which unfortunately is what the marketing sounds like. So I don't blame anyone who thinks, oh, that's what they promised.
No. So we're letting you know. So anyways,
but as for how to run it, you do want to get the microphone at your seated ear level. So figure out when you're sitting on your bed, because that's the normal way you're going to be watching, the microphone should be at the same height as your head when you're doing that. So if that's a tripod or a mic stand, or even just, you stack up something on your bed that gets the microphone to be the same height as where your ears are going to be. And you want the microphone pointing straight up at the ceiling. Because I suspect with what he's saying next, there might have been some aiming of the microphone at some point, or having the microphone right on the bed or on his, the head rest behind the bed. Get it where your head's going to be and have at least 1 foot of free air all around it. So don't have it right back against the back wall.
Even if your head is goes. Right against the back wall,
right,
you are 12 inches off of that back wall anyways.
That's right.
Okay?
But yeah, same height, pointed straight at the ceiling.
Yeah. So anyways, he's tried running YPAO in the past, and his biggest concern is that it set the trim level for a center speaker way lower than all of his other speakers. Is that normal? It's not inconceivable that could be the case. It depends on the sensitivity of your center channel. Rob's suggestion earlier that you were aiming your microphone could certainly be affecting this. At the same time, it could very well be that the rest of your speakers are so high. Maybe your center channel was a little bit lower, more directly facing in the right, the orientation it should be. Could be that your off-axis response for your other speakers, which are not supposed to really be as high as they are, maybe that's what's causing this discrepancy.
Yeah, actually, with your surround speakers up as high as they are, and the front left-right speakers, which are a Dapolito array, they have a woofer, a tweeter sandwiched in between two woofers, that gives them a little bit narrower vertical. So they're way up high with this narrow vertical. Then you have this horizontal center speaker with wide vertical. That could explain that, the measurement microphone was like, I'm getting a lot more treble response from the center speaker than from any of these other speakers, because all the other speakers are up higher with narrower vertical dispersion. So that could explain it right there. Again, it's coming back to suboptimal placement of the speakers.
Yeah. Get your speakers in the right place first. Run YPAO.
Yep, it's going to solve you a lot of your problems.
And orient your microphone the right way, and you'll be whatever. So he isn't sure how his receiver is handling his subwoofer. Is it properly applying a low-pass filter? Almost certainly. As long as you have it turned on, I cannot imagine a world in which a current receiver, even a receiver the last 10 years can't do a crossover.
No, it has bass management, so it is applying.
As long as you have it in some way accidentally turned it off, which is theoretically possible, and in no way saying that you've done it. No. I mean, we've all done it. Let's just put it that way. None of us want to talk about it, but we've done it on accident. We're like, wait a second, the subwoofer's not on. I wonder what's going on there. Right? It's happened. So is YPAO EQing his subwoofer? We've already answered that. No, it's not. Okay, it's not at all. He noticed one thing in particular. He was trying to get a more even sound throughout his room, so he used 7-speaker stereo listening mode. That made his subwoofer way quieter. So how does he get his subwoofer working properly with his speakers?
So I looked through the manual, and that particular mode, it actually says it first down mixes whatever you're listening to 2-channel only, and then plays that through all the speakers. Well, guess what? It just played full range sound through all your speakers and sent nothing to your
Well,
subwoofer.
that makes sense.
So that explains what was going on there. In that particular mode, your subwoofer, not just quieter, it probably wasn't playing anything at all, which would definitely sound quieter.
That would. And remember, I mean, your subwoofer is, if I remember correctly, is kind of tucked up underneath, like to the side of your bed, in between your.
Yeah.
It's really in a weird location, which is fine. There's nothing you can do about that. But at the same time, you could very well be sitting, and probably are sitting, in a humongous null.
Well, I mean, when he says it got way quieter with that one listening mode, I'm assuming he's hearing bass when he's not using 7-channel stereo. It was switching to that listening mode that did this, and the explanation is the signal completely changed. It wasn't even sending anything to your subwoofer anymore. So if you want to use what we're going to say is go down to 5 speakers, but you want to use all that, use the Dolby Pro Logic 2 listening mode or the DTS Neo 6 listening mode. Both of those will make use of all your speakers, but it won't do this crazy thing where it down mixes it all to 2 and then takes away your subwoofer. It won't do that to you, at least. So
Yeah, I mean, the way
I like DTS Neo 6 myself.
the way to get more bass throughout your room, or more even bass throughout your room, is to add a second subwoofer, which you're clearly, and not on the market to do right now. Not only that, you are unlikely to have any space in the bedroom for a second subwoofer.
Yeah, no, I mean, his placement options are very
limited. So, I mean,
what
what you can really do, if you're trying to, if you don't like the way the bass sounds at your specific location, first of all, make sure you are, you've got them level. You got to make sure it's properly level matched. That you're not, when you look at the trim levels on your receiver, it's not saying something like, plus 12 to your sub.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right at its maximum. Yeah,
it could very well be that your sub is just turned too low. It's turning it up as much as it can. Could very well be something else as well. You could run it. It says negative 12, and you're like, it's still not loud enough. Oh, like, okay, you're sitting in a null, and you keep turning up the volume on your sub, and this thing's trying to turn it down because of the other bass that you're not necessarily hearing, because of how your head is located at that particular time. So you really need to, if you've got your trim level so that it seems like it's sitting at a pretty reasonable level, you still think that the bass is kind of wonky. If you have the option with your sub, which you may not, is start playing with the phase. You could start moving the phase knob back and forth to try to do that.
I don't think that sub has a phase knob.
And if you can't do that, you can actually change the distance. Write down what it says. You can change the distance, which essentially is changing the phase. Now, this is going to be something that's going to be very trial and error, and probably result with absolutely no net effect that you like. I am suggesting you go down a rabbit hole that will almost certainly end up with a 0 net gain for you, but you will at least have tried. So if you're really unhappy with your bass, I know you can't move your sub. So I mean, I'm fairly confident you can't. This is one thing you can try to get a little bit more even bass in your room, but it's certainly going to be 6 of one, half dozen of another in the end, because you only have so much you can do, and changing the phase knob, doing a little bit of YPAO, even if it did do the EQ EQ the sub, which it does not, it still would not really touch on the fact that you're in a small room that has no real room treatments and very limited placement options. So it is working properly with your speakers, which is the question that you asked. It's just don't use that stereo mode. His Yamaha also only offers a setting for one crossover frequency. Would a receiver that lets you set different crossover frequency for different speakers be better? It is by definition a more feature-rich receiver.
Yeah.
So is it necessarily better? I don't think in your current situation it is, to be honest with you. I don't think it would be a reason that I would buy a new receiver. There's lots of reasons why you might want to buy a new receiver. Having independent crossovers is not one of them. As a person who does have independent crossovers, I honestly, frankly, and unabashedly tend to ignore them and just set a global crossover anyways at 80 hertz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to go through and listen to the speakers and try to figure out whether or not one is just like 80 hertz. Got to go. Thank you very much. Checks in the mail.
And the speakers that you have, this Onkyo package, they don't vary so wildly in the bass response of the speakers that you really need that for the speakers that you currently have. So yeah, if you can set a crossover at 80, 90, 100 hertz, that'll work pretty fine for all the speakers that you have in your room right now. So that's not something that is a high priority at all.
He asks, for regular stereo music sources, is it any better to use HDMI instead of Toslink, which is an optical cable? Does it make any difference in the sound quality? Nope. Thank you. If he changes the audio output setting in his Blu-ray player from bitstream output to PCM output, is there any difference in the sound quality? Want your question answered? Send it.
Not in this
question.
Instance.
No, not for Blu-ray players. Unless your receiver can't decode Dolby True HD or PS Master Audio.
But it can.
Well, I'm saying that's the only time it would make a difference if people do that. Because you either decode it at the player and send out PCM, which any receiver can send out, or you decode it at the receiver. And either way, it's being decoded. So
that's right.
That's pretty much it. The decoders are the same.
Now, it would be different if you had Atmos. Right? If you had Atmos, then you have to send the bitstream go out and from the player into the Atmos receiver. You can't decode Atmos inside the Blu-ray player, but in your case, you're sticking with 5.1. It doesn't matter where the decoding is done. It'll still end up as PCM audio at some point. Now, if you just want to see Dolby True HD show up on the front panel of your AV receiver, or DTS HD Master Audio show up on the front panel of your receiver, so that you know for certain that's what's being sent out, that's okay. That's totally fine. But the sound quality will be the same either way.